So welcome to your training today, Support Poetry Month Studies with Gale Resources. This training is for Discus and specifically for your Discus resources that you have from Gale. My name is Tammi Burke. I'm your trainer, and anytime you have any questions throughout this session, please feel free to use that Q&A box. It is open and available. Today's session, we are going to be focusing on the resources that you have available to support Poetry Month. We will be covering 3 different resources today, and I am going to take one of those and kind of have you look at it in a different way, as far as maybe it was one that you hadn't necessarily thought about using for Poetry Month studies. If you have any questions, please feel free to use that Q&A box. We will also be discussing some of the tools and features that are available within your resources, but we are really focusing on the different content that you have. And I will be sharing some tips and tricks and some hidden gems available within your Gale resources today. Our agenda, I'll start with first sharing with you access to the Discus resources. If you're not familiar, we'll start with an overview of the resources we will be talking about today. And actually, I will be giving you an overview of all the resources that you have, but then focusing on those 3. And then we will explore the content, tools, and features. If you have questions or are looking for additional training materials or marketing materials, I'll share that with you at the end of the session. You have a great support site. You also have one-on-one contact. Of course, you have your support group or the support folks at Discus, and I'll share their information with you. And then if you're looking for usage reports or any of that type of information, or as I mentioned, support materials for your Gale resources, we have your Gale customer success managers that can help with that individual type questions that you may have. And I'll share all that information at the end of today's session. So first, to access your Discus resources, if you are not familiar, hopefully you all are, you can go to the Discus site, and I'm going to put that link in the chat. And you can access right through the Discus website. If you haven't if you haven't set up your school or library, I should say, with your individual direct URLs, because you do have them, but there is a little bit of setup with that needs to happen. As I mentioned, the support folks at Discus can help with that, and I'll share their information at the end. Otherwise, you will find their contact information in this link I just shared with you. There's a support section and a contact us section there at the very top navigation of that site. So they can help with that process. But it is nice to use your direct URLs for your resources, because you can use them wherever your users are learning, and add them to your library website, or wherever, as I mentioned, wherever maybe you have a LibGuide or something like that you're using. But the usage will roll up to your site. So if that's information that you're looking to capture, that's really helpful to have. And you can receive that if you have your direct URLs. So let's talk about the Gale and Context resources that you have access to. And you do have Gale and Context Elementary. This is designed for our kindergarten through 5th graders, and they can learn about everything from animals to science and sports. We will be looking in Gale and Context Elementary today at the poetry section, and you also have some great biographical information on authors. So I will be sharing that with you today. Gale and Context Biography features contextual information from the world's most influential people, and that includes poets. So this may not have been a resource that you thought about going into, focusing more on maybe the ebook collection that you have, but it is a great one to take a look at, because our in-context resources are really rich with multimedia. So I'm going to share with you a few tips and tricks within that resource. If I were approaching this and teaching within my class, how I would utilize this tool. Or if you're focusing on this in your public library or academic library, it's really helpful to have this other piece to connect with the literature, the poems that your users are studying. And then opposing viewpoints. Now, opposing viewpoints is not one we're going to go into today. I did do a little bit of exploration just to see, because we do have different novels and different texts and authors and stuff to see what we had. And we have some content there, but it's not as much as you are going to find in your other resources. But to just let you know that you do have access to opposing viewpoints, which is this is used a little bit more at the high school, middle school, high school level, definitely in college and in our public libraries, because it does cover our hot topics, social issues, those controversial issues. You're seeing all sides of the issue, which is really nice, and really helping with those critical thinking skills, but also giving you that authoritative content too. So you can see this is a great resource that can help at all levels. So we are focusing today in our In Context suite on elementary and biography. You also have fantastic ebook collections. You have entire series available from Discus. You have poetry for students, and this features discussions and analysis of poems from all time periods, nations, and cultures. You also have short stories for students, which provides critical overviews of short stories. Again, cultures, time periods, with discussion also. Drama for students, which are critical overviews of the most studied plays. And then novels for students, which provides critical overviews of novels, but it's the discussion of the plot and the characters and the themes. And today we are focusing on poetry for students. And this is, you have volumes 1 through 62 available. And again, in this one, you'll find themed discussions, historical content, analysis of poems of all time periods, but also discussions of and overviews of the poems. So with that, we're going to go right in and start exploring. Now, I am going to take you through the Discus website so you can see, if you're not familiar with that, I just want to make you aware and where you're going to find these resources today. If you have any questions, please feel free to use that Q&A. So I can go right in from the homepage. I would actually go directly to the A to Z resources. Because I know I'm searching by vendor, I'm looking for Gale resources. I'm going to go into the A to Z resources, and then right here, I can quickly change it to Gale and apply, and it's going to take me to all of my Gale resources. Now, what has been done here is some of the collections within Gale eBooks have been curated here for you. So there's a link that was probably use the Get Link tool within the resource to take you directly into that collection. So you can still access all of the ebooks, and I'm going to share with you that path today. From even just if I click into Poetry for Students, it doesn't limit me to just that collection. It just is a direct path into that collection. Okay, but everything else is still available there. And then we have elementary and biography up here at the top. And then we also have one of the other collections, which is drama for students. Okay, so we're going to start with elementary, and I do already have it open here. And I want to share with you, if you're doing a poetry study at the elementary level, or you have some students looking for homework help coming into your public library, or you have future teachers that are looking for resource content. As a former teacher, this would have been a great resource to have access to when I was in college. It would have been extremely helpful, and I would have loved to have built some lesson plans around this resource and just research skills in general. But when we're talking about poetry, you have a lot of great information in this resource, and I want to share with you some of that content today. So if you look at our topics that we have here, we have one titled Literature, but we also have People. And in People, we're going to find those authors. In Literature, and we're going to start there today, we also have the authors. So they're in both places. This collection that we have is going to be here in Literature. Let me go back to all topics. And then if I go to People, you'll see it's also available here. So that same content is in both sections. So to keep it simple for my students, and I want to take them through this, what we call a topic tree, going into Literature might be the easiest path for them, because we have authors, but we also, under literary genres, you're going to find poems and content about poems. So let's start with literary genres. And this is where I'm going to find the section or the subcategory on poetry. Every time I click into, and as I said, it's a tree, topic tree. So we start with that larger topic, and then we're able to drill down into these topic pages. I do get a bit of an overview of what that subject is. It's that high level overview. If I click into poetry, then it takes me to a topic page. Topic pages have an essay overview at the top. You have some quick facts, and then the content is listed below. So in this one, I do have some information about poetry. I'm going to find some magazines. The nice thing is with the magazines is I'm going to find some poems in there. I'm going to show you another way to also find poems. And then in the biographies, you can see here's some biographies on individual poets. We have some news articles, pictures available, and then additional topic pages. So for example, Robert Frost is right here, or parts of a poem, which is very interesting. So depending on what you're teaching about poetry, you have some helpful tools available. Now, if you look on the left-hand side, you're going to see different content levels. Level 1s and 2s, we have 5 different content levels. Level 1s and 2s are primarily elementary. So if I go into biographies, I am going to see some that might be a little higher. And we include these because we do have the listen option, and we have students that are possibly reading at a middle school level and are ready for that next level of content. So it's twofold. With that, the listen option, one of our tools to support accessibility, students can listen to content as it's being read aloud to them. So they're not always limited to that reading level, but we do have those reading levels here. Or those content levels. So it's really easy to filter to, if I just want my level 1s and 2s, I can very easily filter my results on the right-hand side. And this is a shared tool and feature across all of your Gale resources. So if I want to filter my content level to just 1s and 2s, I don't want any 3s or above, and 3 is middle school, and then it goes up from there. Then it filters down all of my content at once. So I'm in biographies, but it also filtered my book articles, magazines, news, and pictures, all down to levels 1 and 2. So I wanted those reading levels. They are here and filtered and curated for me. If I wanted to share this with my students, if I want to share it in my library, or if I'm working with teachers, I can use the Get Link tool. And GetLink provides a persistent URL back to any spot within this resource. So I could have grabbed a link to the topic page that I was on first, but I can also grab a link to filtered content, which is really helpful, especially when you're working with younger students. Now, I mentioned the read aloud tool or the listen feature. So I'm going to click into, let's go into Shel Silverstein. This is one when I taught that I love to read to my students. Talks a little bit about him. You have an image, and you also have this overview. So this one has main ideas. It talks about his life, writing for children. And you have a bit of a timeline here. Now, we have some tools to support accessibility, and these are shared across all of your Gale resources. The one I was mentioning is the listen tool. And if I click that listen button, it is going to read the text aloud to me. It reads the title, it will read through the content, and it does highlight as it reads. There's one other feature I want to share with you real quick, and that is under the settings. Under the settings, you have a lot of options here where you can change the color of the text, the sentence, the word, but I can also turn on the enhanced text visibility and slow down the speed or speed up the speed if I choose to. Enhanced text visibility pulls out that text and puts it right on the page in this text box. So when I always share Gale in Context Elementary, I love to point out this feature. And again, it's available in all your Gale resources, so it does support the varying needs of all of our users. But it's really helpful with elementary because if they are looking at something at a higher reading level, it pulls that text out on the page as it's being read aloud to them. Great for those emergent readers too. So they can listen just as it's being read aloud. They can also translate the text. I'm going to close this. Actually, let me turn this off too, because if I go in and use it again, it does stick with me. My computer actually cookies it. So no matter which resource I'm in, it will be on and available. So just keep that in mind too. You can enlarge, make the text bigger or smaller. I also have display options available. This happened the other day. Hold on a second, let me refresh my screen. There we go. Display options. I can change the color behind the text. I can use the open dyslexic font. I can increase the line, letter, and word spacing, which is really helpful for our students. I know my son, who is now about to graduate from high school with honors, struggled with reading when he was in elementary. He had issues with tracking and his fluency. Couldn't reading out loud. He could comprehend everything when he read it to himself, but as soon as he tried to read it out loud, and he finally had a teacher who just let him read, and he just took off from there. So whenever I see these tools available, especially that line, letter, and word spacing, it takes me back to the days of sitting with him and trying to help him track the text, because it can be challenging for students. And this listen feature would have been really helpful too. Just to give you an idea of how it can help a family that has a student that needs those extra tools. So those options are available here. And again, all your Gale resources. I'm going to go back to those default settings and click done. I also have the ability to translate the text into over 40 languages. So when I translate the text, it translates all the text on the page. Now, if I click that listen button, we are at 40 languages here, but for listen, we are at 24, and they're the most used within that translate section. So we have 24 that can be listened to aloud. And then this last button is the article information. We've just hidden it for our younger students. And you can see at the top here, level 2 and level 1. So this happens to be, we have a topic page for this author. And this happens to be, when we have topic pages, they're written by Gale. We publish a lot of our own content. And you do have that ability to change it to a level 1 from a level 2. And level 1s usually have the words to know, where level 2s have main ideas, but you can see a little bit simpler text here for our early elementary readers. Okay, so you're going to find information, again, literary genres. I was in the poetry topic page. I'm going to take you back out. We looked at, let's go back to literary genres, but this time, sorry, let's go to literature, all the way out to authors. And you can see we do have, and we just went into one, but we do have content available on many authors, and some of them are poets like Maya Angelou, which we're going to talk a little bit more about her. Nikki Grimes is a writer, but also a poet. And then you can see we were just in Shel Silverstein. And those topic pages are organized just as we saw in that poetry collection. Now, let me share with you where you can go if you're looking for a collection of poems, like where you just want to pull a bunch of poems together to share with students. What can I do? Well, you can actually go into advanced search. So this would be, we don't have many, most of our elementary students are pointing and clicking, and that's why we have that topic tree. So if you're pulling or curating a collection of information, what you can do is you can use advanced search. And I'm going to continue to scroll down because I'm looking for a certain document type. So I can filter by content type if I want, but I really am looking just for poems because I want to pull these into my lessons this month. So I am going to select poem. I could put in a term if I wanted, maybe if I just wanted poems on animals, which is really popular at elementary, I could do that, but I'm going to just show you everything. So I can click search here at the top or down below. So here's one of those tips and tricks or hidden gems. And a lot of our poems come from magazines. So we have over 11,000. Now at this point, if I wanted to filter this down by any of these options, maybe publication date, or there's again, certain subjects, document type, they should all be poems. We have publication titles or author languages available. It's pretty much English for this if we had additional languages, but remember you can translate every single document that you have here into whatever language you choose. Publisher, content level, that's where we selected previously the level 1s and 2s, or I can search within. If I want to search for a certain term, I can. If I wanted to share this, I know it's a lot of my classes are studying poems this month and I want to share this with my teachers. I can use that Get Link tool, or my students that are coming into the library. I can click on more magazines or more magazines. Both of them take me to the same spot, and it takes me to all of the magazines and all of the poems. So let's go into Let's Go Camping, Fun for Kids. And you can see, here's a poem. Some of them will have a bit of a commentary before. This one is a poem. Some are written by students. So you're going to see a variety of that, but it's the quickest way to find all of our poems that we have is to go into advanced search, go to document type, and search for all the poems, and then filter it down from there. All right. Okay, so we're going to go into another resource, and I want to talk to you about your Gale ebook collection next. And then we'll come back into the last in context resource that we're going to touch into today. And I will cover some of these tools that you're seeing up here in the next one. As I mentioned, they are shared so we can continue to explore content and also go over those tools. So let me go into Gale eBooks. Now this is going to take me through a different path. Now remember I mentioned that you can go to the entire ebook collection, but if you go through the Discus site and you click on Poetry for Students, it will take you directly into that collection. And these are all the volumes that you have available, 1 through 62. Okay. I am taking you through the path of the ebooks, going directly to, or once you get to this point, if I wanted to go to see all of the collections that I have available, that's the path I'm going to take. Anytime you want to go to the full resource or go back to the home page of any of your Gale resources, just click into the banner and it'll take you right back to that home page. All right, so you can see, I just want to show you that you have all of these series available, and I could do a basic search. If I did a basic search here, it would search through drama, novels, poetry, and short stories. And you may want to do that, or you may want to focus just on your poetry series. It's completely up to you how broad you want this to be. So I had mentioned that we were going to take a look at Maya Angelou today. And it looks like the majority are coming from Poetry for Students, but I might see something else pop up like here, Novels for Students came up. So it's up to you how you want to direct users, and both ways work just great. The majority of the time when you have something like an author that strictly writes poetry, like Maya Angelou, that they would, what you're going to find is going to come from that Poetry for Students collection. But I had mentioned, I think it was Nikki Grimes in the elementary, and she's a writer and a poet. So maybe doing a broader search might pull back different information because she is considered a writer of short stories and also a poet. So keep that in mind. If I want to search through the collection, so either path I take, I come in this way, or I've gone from the Discus page directly into the collection, I have that ability to search within this entire series up in the upper right hand corner. So this will search through all these volumes, but basic search is still going to search through all 4 of your for students collections. Okay. Yeah, 4. I drew a blank. I'm like, wait, there's only 4, right? Yeah. Okay. And again, remember, Poetry for Students is looking at theme discussions, historical content, analysis of poems from all time periods, nations, cultures, and also it provides an overview of the poem and discussions of the theme. So principal themes, images, form, and construction. You can see that information right here too. Now, if I wanted to go into a specific volume, if I wanted to go into this most recent one, it takes me to the table of contents, and I can see here on the left-hand side what poems are going to be included in this book. If I wanted to, I'm going to go back. If I wanted to search within this series, and let's do Langston Hughes. We're going to switch with a couple different poets here within this resource. I could do that too. So again, remember, search within the collection. If you click into the cover of that ebook, or you take the path that Discus has laid out for you, use the upper right-hand corner. Basic search is going to take you to everything available in all of the ebooks and all the series. So we have in our results, again, I can filter them down very easily. We've already talked about this shared tool and feature. I have 112 results, so that's a lot of information here. Do I need to filter that content down? Probably I need to, or maybe I'm looking for a certain subject. I might want to do that. So if I am looking for literate, African American culture, it filters it down to 13 results. So a little bit easier to read. Here's one of a very popular one from Langston Hughes, and that's Harlem. When you click into the poem, you click into the title here, you can see some information, the editors, which it's obviously from Poetry for Students, because we can see that. A little bit of a summary. What I'm seeing is 13 pages. This is a critical essay, work overview, and a biography. So we have those document types right here. If I want to go directly to this article, I click here on the title and not the cover. The cover is going to take me to that table of contents. So anytime you click on a cover, it's going to take you to the table of contents. If I want to go to the article or the document, I click on the title. Now, because these are ebooks, you have two views available. You have your text view, and within your text view, you have all the tools to support accessibility that we talked about. You also have your quick send options here, Google, Microsoft, email, download, print. And then my contextual toolbar up here has all of those tools also. So I have the send to option, little paper airplane, has all of these tools. Download, print. Why do we put it in two places? Because you could be at this point and decide that you wanted to send this article to your Google Drive. You don't have to scroll all the way back up to the top to click on that little Google Drive button. So this toolbar sticks with me and floats down the page. When I am in text view in any of our ebooks, then I will have these tools to support accessibility. I'll have this great explore panel. This article has contents. I have related subjects also in my explore panel. As soon as I change it to book view, so book view is up here in my contextual toolbar, it takes me to that exact book view. So this could be a book that you have on your library shelf, but you only have one copy. Here you have unlimited access. You can download this, you can print it off, translate, but you do have to be in text view to translate this information. Now I can make this double page. I can make this whole screen. I can zoom in, click and drag and move that text around. So you're literally looking at a PDF version of the actual book that all students can read. And they could read it together all at the same time, if that's what you needed them to do. So again, I'm in book view and I have all of these tools and I get that great PDF version. Also that download, when I download, this is what I'm going to see. I don't have to be in book view when I download, it will automatically give me, if I have the ebook or the source available, I will get that PDF sure of that ebook. So I don't have to be in book view to get this information. And you can see it's really helpful because here's a poem summary. It goes through the lines. So you have your line notes in your For Students collection. I love if there's any media adaptations, I was in, and I'll show you in a minute, Walt Whitman, Oh Captain, My Captain, one of my faves, and looking at some of the media adaptations that are available, topics for further study. So this collection is fantastic to utilize for poetry studies at any level. Elementary, it would be a little challenging, but your teachers, if they're looking for specific content that they want to pull into their classroom, I highly suggest them taking a look at it. But your middle school, high school, definitely our public library, and also definitely at the academic level, you have all this great content at your fingertips. So again, that was all I did was download, and it puts it right onto my device. And then you have that PDF here. It opens up right in your tabs. Okay. All right, let me know if there are any questions. I had mentioned a few other authors that I want to explore within this, and then we'll go into Gale and Context biography and look at some of those authors some more. So we did a search within the collection. I can go back all the way back to Poetry for Students, and I can search within the collection again. Actually, this is looking at a specific book. So the path that I would take, I would want all volumes here on the right-hand side. I'm just searching. So if you noticed, I did a search and I found an article, Harlem, from Langston Hughes, and I took the path back, and it took me all the way back to the individual volume that article came out of. That's why I'm seeing this screen. It's not taking me back to the entire series. I don't have that little series tab here on my cover, but I do have the ability to still search within all the volumes. So I may be on just one of them, but I can search through all of them. And I just have to change or make a different selection. And let's go to Walt Whitman, since we were just talking about him, and submit. And here I have all of the content available. Now you will see the covers are slightly different, and there's what I love is the best of Poetry for Students is another one within all of your volumes that you have available. This is actually from volume 61. And here is his article, or the article from within that ebook on Oh Captain, My Captain. And again, I have more like this. I have related subjects. This one has some images. I have biography information. Here's the actual poem. If I wanted to quickly switch to book view, I could jump into that book view too. And again, there's my poem. So it's the same thing, just from text to book. Here's those media adaptations. And remember this, because I'm going to share with you in Gale and Context biography, where some of this is pulled into some of the audio files. So we're making another connection. But here we have the different stanzas. So you have your line notes, which is always helpful when you're studying poetry at any level. I was an English major, and I remember I took a summer class, and it was Shakespeare, but we did have poetry too. And I studied basically everyone that I'm sharing with you today was in my college courses. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I took Shakespeare in a summer class, which was 10 weeks, which was probably one of the biggest mistakes in my life, because all I could do was read, and Shakespeare is not easy to read. And I wish I would have had something like this. to look at for help. And we didn't really have that. We had our teacher, our professor, and that was it. But oh, I would have given anything to have this type of information available, and especially digitally, because we're mobile responsive too. So you can, you know, I could be looking at this on my cell phone while I'm reading the text. So really helpful to have all those tools at your fingertips coming from an English major. This would have been great tools to have. And even, you know, if you're looking at that criticism, you're teaching at the high school or college level, and you're teaching criticism, literary criticism. Think about using some of the criticism that you're finding in your Gale resources as mentor texts. I don't think everyone always thinks about it that way, but they're great mentor texts, and that's really challenging for students at any level to look at literature at any type of literature, specifically poems. Today we're talking about, and look at it through that analysis view, right? So this is how, you know, this poem, here's the criticism for this poem, and let's read a little bit more about it. So you can understand, okay, this is what you're looking for. So using that as a mentor text, any of this criticism could be really helpful for your students, because it is really hard for them when they first start analyzing poetry or any literature, for them to think that way, because they've been so used to just reading, enjoying, and having, you know, learning about it through their teacher. Now they have to come up with their own opinions and criticize that content or those literary works. So just an idea of how you can utilize the information that you have here within these ebook collections. So we talked about, oh, let's go to Maya Angelou. We're going to go back to our poetry for students. Again, I'm going to search through all volumes, although I know she has something within this volume. We're going to touch into Maya Angelou again in our biography. And Still I Rise, one of my favorites. And you can see here, you've got a little bit different information. We've got a biography. There's a critical essay, so great to use for a mentor text. And there's a work overview. Those overviews are also really helpful, especially, again, with poetry, where you're getting any type of line notes. Introduction, we have some media adaptations, and I'm staying in the text view here. Maybe I want to use one of our other tools. So I am pulling this content out. We are studying this poem in my class, and here's a summary of the poem. These stanzas information is going to help me, and I'm struggling with stanzas 2 and 3. So maybe I want to highlight some of this text. I can highlight, choose my color. This is maybe helpful information. Hopefully they have something better than that. I can save that. Now, my best practice whenever I'm doing any type of highlighting is to send the entire document somewhere. Send it to my Google Drive, send it to Microsoft OneDrive, print, download, or email, because it'll stay marked up for me. So if I'm able to, and I have to be in text view to use the highlights and notes tool. It's available in all your Gale resources, but when you're in ebooks, you have to be in text view to have this tool available, because the other one is a PDF. You can print it off and mark it up, but you can't do it here digitally. Here's a little bit here about the poem. Okay, now I would send it. I'm going to send it to my Google Drive. It'll land in a folder titled Gale eBooks. It'll be all marked up. I have that entire document. Let's go back to my results. This time I'm going to go into a different poem. Where Still I Rise again. Let's go into Caged Bird. A little bit about the introduction. I'm going to save that. So again, I'm going to do some highlighting. Okay. Best practice again, send it to my Google Drive. Now, what's happening is my highlights and notes is being built out. When you are talking about anything related to literature, poetry, any type of annotating, highlights and notes can be extremely helpful for all of our users. So highlights and notes is being built out. It is session-based. I can see here's the 2 sections from within this article. But if I click on view all highlights and notes, remember I was highlighting in a previous article on Still I Rise, or document on Still I Rise. I have these, what I like to call digital notes. I have the ability to edit those notes. My bibliography is already attached. I can label what the color purple is for and what the color yellow is for. I can send just these to Google, Microsoft, email, download, or print. My citation, here's my works cited page. So I still have those entire documents because my best practice, send the entire document. Then before I leave my session, I want to make sure I come into my highlights and notes and just grab this information too. So I have both sitting in my Google Drive or wherever I choose to send it. And then I also have the ability to grab my citation. I can change the format. I can choose to export this directly to Noodle Tools if I want, or any of the other choices here below. Or I can just copy and paste it into my works cited document that I've started. And that's what one of the things I really enjoy about our highlights and notes that folks don't fully understand. So it's one of those tips and tricks is you have your works cited page that's actually working for you in the back side of this resource. So of course, all of our articles have the citations attached at the bottom. Any document, anything, picture, image, anything in your Gale resources, you have the source citation already there attached to the document. So I sent these marked up documents to my Google Drive. The source citation's already at the bottom of them. Let me go back to Caged Bird. And this is probably a longer one. Yeah. So it's at the very bottom. There we go. And I do have that ability to change the format also. So before I send it, if I need APA, your users may want to come down here and change it to APA and then send it to their Google Drive. All right. So those are the types of tools that or type of content that you have available within those collections, within this resource. And again, you have 2 options where you can search just through the Poetry for Students collection, or you can search through all of the ebooks at once, all 4 at once, depending on what you're looking for. All right, let's go into our last resource. Please let me know if you have any questions or you want me to go over anything again. We are going to go into our last resource, and that is, I don't have it open here. Let me go into Biography. There we go. So I just jumped into Gale in Context Biography, and this in your in context resource, you have rich content. Oh, yeah, rich content that is multimedia. Sorry, I saw a little glitch. I was a little panicked there for a second. So multimedia content that you're going to have available in your Gale in Context Biography. So maybe this, now I'm looking at specifically the authors, the poets here within this resource. If I look below, I will find I have the ability to browse through different people, and they are categorized here. And this is just some of the categories we have available. We have over 5,000 topic pages available within this resource. So I could go into writers, or I could go into artists and filter by authors. I may find that there, but I'm going to show you if I browse all people, it takes me to this alphabetical list, but all of the topics on that homepage, they change sometimes because we have so many to choose from. And I even have poets listed here. And that's these are categories. These aren't topic pages. These are those subject categories. So I can click on poets, and here are all the poets I have topic pages for available within this resource. So you can see that connection to you're not only looking at the poems, but looking at the author too. So if we were to go into Emily Dickinson, for example, I have that image and essay overview. I have some quick facts about Emily Dickinson. My featured content section here is hand-selected information by our content editors. And then you can see all of the content types I have. So I happen to have biographies. I have some audio files. If there's any safe vetted websites, those are available. Related topic pages are at the bottom: magazine, reference, images, news, some videos, and academic journals. Our academic journals, you will see if they are peer reviewed. Let me go to academic journals. You'll see this little peer reviewed next to them. And I will say a majority of them that I found are. So if I wanted to link out that topic page for Emily Dickinson, I know that I have a student that selected Emily Dickinson as her study for Poetry Month. This is the author that she selected. I can use the Get Link tool and share this as an option, or they're high school student, middle school, high school, they can come in here and find that information themselves. Now, where I would use this at the elementary level is if you were had parents working with students, you could use Gale and Context Biography. It's because this is really that higher level reading, but there is such great content. The breadth of information that's available within this resource is incredible. So having that available for parents to utilize could be really, really helpful. And so keep that in mind, but or your elementary librarians, this can be helpful for, and of course the teachers too. Now, if I were just doing a general search, let's say I'm doing a general search on, let's go back to Walt Whitman, and then we're going to go to Maya Angelou. The reason why I chose Walt Whitman is because there is the audio files. Now, remember, I had mentioned the those adaptations. Now, there isn't for Oh Captain, My Captain, I didn't find any of them here, but because a lot of them were linked out to YouTube. But what I did find in the audio files is some of these files will have, it's discussing either Walt Whitman or discussing one of his poems. And there's a variety of information here, but you may also find that there are readings within. So there's where there's snippets of a reading of the poem. So that's really helpful to have that along with that content, that audio content, that interview, that broadcast, whatever it may be. And all of our broadcasts do also have the transcripts available. But you can see, I think this is Leaves of Grass. No, it wasn't this one. But you'll see if there's a reading by one of the people that is on this interview, you'll see that information available there too. So keep that in mind. We may have the audio to go along with what you're reading in your Poetry for Students collection. Okay, now we're going to go to Maya Angelou. And I know I have a topic page available for her because when I start to do a basic search, I see it bolded and it's here towards the top. So it's telling me that I have a topic page available for Maya Angelou. And what I love about some of our authors like Maya Angelou or one of my other favorites, Nikki Giovanni, you may find that we have audio files of them reading the actual poems. So that's another, you'll find interviews with the poets, but you'll also may find them reading the poems themselves too. So that's great content. It's one of those tips and tricks available within this resource. So with your In Context, you have that rich multimedia to go along with it. So we happen to have some videos here available. So you can actually see, this one's a farewell, but you may see some interviews also with the individual authors. Here's a poem that looks like I think Vanessa Williams wrote. And these also, again, have the transcripts available for them. Okay, and you're going to find, I picked Maya Angelou, Nikki Giovanni, but Sylvia Plath Edgar Allan Poe. You're going to find information, like I said, the sheer amount of information within this resource is incredible. And you have this image and essay overview with these quick facts. I like to read too that overview because you are going to find those quick facts about this person. And then you're going to find that general information to, this is a great place for your users to get started because it gives them that overview of this author. So they can click into the individual biography or biographical information within that content type, like we have 9 biographies, for example, or they can start with that overview. It's a great place to get started. All right. Let me know if there are any questions on anything that we went over. And with the, as I mentioned, for Gale and Context Biography, it's the multimedia content, but you're also going to find most influential poets, both historical to contemporary, available within this resource. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back into my PowerPoint if there's no questions. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to share with you in this resource. Oh, the one thing I didn't talk about is if we have any K-12 folks, we are integrated with Google Classroom. You'll see that here at the top. So if I wanted to add this topic page and bring it into my Google Classroom, I'm already signed in to Google and I am set up as a teacher. So I have that ability to place information directly into Google Classroom. Let me share that screen with you. It opens in a new tab. Sorry about that. Hopefully you're seeing this. I can go to my class, Honors English. I can choose an action. Let's make an announcement. Click go. And here I can post it directly to my classroom. I can put in any information I want and it'll pull that link directly into my Google Classroom. I can post it and then I have the option to view after. So it's a really simple process for your teachers to pull that content directly into, or maybe you are working with in your library, you're working with a group of students or teachers for that matter. You can put it in your Google Classroom and share it with them. If a teacher, I will share this with you, if you are marking up a document, maybe you're doing a mini lesson on how to use highlights and notes. You will need to send that to your Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive and then share it from there. Because if you pull that marked up document into Google Classroom, it won't stay marked up because it's not static. So if you want exactly what you've marked up, this is session based. So please send that also to your Google Drive and share it from your Google Drive to your Google Classroom. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you share the document in your Google Classroom, even if you've marked it up here within the resource, it will provide you with the document itself, not the marked up version. So put it in your Google Drive and then share it from there. All right, let me know. Oh, there's one other area I want to share with you, and then we're going to go back to the PowerPoint, and that's Topic Finder. So in your Gale and Context Biography, in your ebooks, you're going to find this tool, which is Topic Finder. Now, I personally, when I'm looking specifically for a poet or for poetry studies, I would go to the topic pages, or I would definitely utilize your Poetry for Students, but you may have students that want to do a broader search. Maybe they're looking for poets like feminists that were writing, you have feminists that are available here in Gale and Context Biography, and then they want to filter down to poets that way. Maybe they're looking at that theme rather than for a specific writing or a specific author. So that could be an idea to utilize this tool that way. So if I wanted to, let's give it a try. I just want to share with you the results. Oh, there we go. Ooh, took a little bit to pull all that information back. So women's rights, and you can see this is the tile view. We also have the wheel. I don't know if you're familiar with our Topic Finder. again, available in your Gale resources. But here it gives me, here's critics. I don't see one on free speech. I wonder if I have anything. So I would need to really filter that down. I might want to change my search a little bit different. I kept it very, very broad for our training today, but you can see this is just another tool, another option, search option that you have available. You have a lot of browse and search options available within your Gale resources. Okay, and then here's all the documents on the right-hand side. All right, let me go back to my PowerPoint and just share with you where you can go for help with Discus. You have the help desk. Hopefully you're familiar with this email, but please feel free to reach out to them if you need any support with any of your Discus resources. They are there to help you. If you're looking for support from Gale, like you're looking for any technical documents or widgets or icons to go along with your direct URLs, you can go to the Gale support site. We also have, which can be really helpful to you all, in the training center, you're going to find tip sheets. We have student activities. We've been creating more and more documents connected to our Gale resources to use in the classroom. So we have a lot of, or in your public library, if you have students that are coming in or looking for homework help, we have all types of different, templates for designing your own escape room. We've created escape rooms. We have our individual documents or our graphic organizers and tips for teachers and organizing those, for elementary students. So we have those types of, beginning research skills, tools available, but there's so many projects, argumentative essays I know students are writing, which opposing viewpoints would be great for. You're going to find those types of training tools available along with resource guides to help you all, and tip sheets and tutorials and webinars, all available on the Gale support site. If you're looking to market your materials, you have some bookmarks and posters. There's great digital communication templates, social media posts. Everything is available on the Gale support site for you. So you don't need to recreate the wheel. We've probably created it for you. So just check it out and see what we have available. And this link will be included in your follow-up email too. So that wraps our session. If you have any questions, I will stay on the line. Again, the support site is available, so please feel free to explore that. Your one-on-one support, please go to your folks at Discus first for support, but your customer success managers, here's their information here. They know how to get a hold of all of us too. My name again is Tammi Burke. I'm your senior trainer from Gale. This training survey is here if you'd like to use a QR code, but there's also, it should pop up when you leave the session today. And I thank you so much for your time and your feedback. If in that comment section, if you're looking for any type of specific Discus training, feel free to let me know. I work very closely with the folks at Discus. They are fantastic. And I will happily share that information with them. But that wraps our session. I hope you join us again in the future. Thank you so much for your time today, and have a great rest of your day and a great week, everyone.